Them in greater detail, but first up, let's take a look at the Asian markets, which are largely in the green today. The Nikkei is up around 1%. We have Kospi seeing gains of 0.7%. Taiwanese index up 0.4%. It's only the Hang Seng which is seeing a bit of a selling. That one is down 0.5% as we speak, taking cues from the positivity that we saw in the on Wall Street after 5 days of continuous selling. But let's also bring up SGX Nifty for you, because that is indicating that the start for our own markets could be well in the green. It is up around 45 points. We saw a recovery from the lows in our own markets yesterday. Let's see which way things go. But for now, the indication is that they will open in the green. But let's talk about the U.S. markets. Wall Street ended yesterday trading session mostly higher, with Dow snapping a 5-day losing streak and gaining 260 points. Meanwhile, S&P 500 up 10 and Nasdaq down 9 points. CNBC's Christina gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. stocks finishing the session mostly higher. The Dow snaps a 5-day losing streak and gains 261 points. The S&P up 10 and the Nasdaq down 9. House Democrats outlining proposed new tax hikes on corporations and the wealthy as they aim to offset their $3.5 trillion spending bill. The proposal includes a 3% surcharge on individual income above $5 million and a capital gains tax of 25%. The proposal could change in the coming weeks, as the Ways and Means Committee will meet this week to debate tax policy. Litecoin briefly surging 20% this morning after Globe Newswire sent out a press release announcing a partnership between Walmart and Litecoin. A Walmart spokesperson later confirmed the press release was fake, and Litecoin quickly gave up all of its intraday gains. And Taco Bell is testing out a 30-day taco subscription plan in some of their Arizona restaurants. The cost of the pass ranges from $5 to $10 per month, as Taco Bell is hoping to drive regular visits from its customers. The move follows similar subscription programs from other chains like Burger King and Panera Bread. That's the action from the United States market. Back to you in Mumbai.
Okay, Taco Bell subscription, who wouldn't want that? Well, that's the update from the US markets, but let's also listen into some important market opinion coming in from Alliance's Chief Economic Advisor, Mohammad El-Arian.
I mean, I see great clarity on the economic issues. And the economic issues is basically we're going to have to deal with stronger stagflationary wins. I want to stress wins, which means that you've got to differentiate much more, which means that pricing power among corporates is going to be very important. So the economic aspects are clear. What's not clear are the behavioral aspects, and these behavioral aspects have dominated. And that also relates to how the Fed behaves over the next few months. So it's a period of greater uncertainty. So stagflation is really problematic for policymakers. I mean, think of the Fed. Does it react to the stag part, or does it react to the deflationary part? The stag part means be loose. Deflationary part means be very tight. Which one is it? So my own view is it's with us for a while, these wins, and we have to make sure we don't get derailed. As to the market, what does it mean for the market? Well, we've got to figure out what does it mean for the Fed, and then we've got to figure out pricing power. You know, a lot of companies are going to say we can pass on these prices onto these higher costs onto higher prices, and they're starting to do so, and they're going to protect their margins. Others are not going to be able to do that, and others won't even have product to sell. So we expect much more differentiation going forward than what we've had so far.
All right, that's the global market action, but how will overnight cues impact our own markets? Well, we have a research team joining in with how the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hi guys, a very good morning. First up, Prima, let me come across to you. What are the market cues you're watching out for in today's trading session?
Well, you started with a big cue, and that is the SGX Nifty is suggesting a positive start, and it is taking cues from Wall Street, where the Dow snapped a 5-day losing streak to end yesterday's session with a gain of about 260 points, or 0.76% higher. But today is going to be a crucial day. We will get the US CPI August inflation data. It's expected to be a red-hot figure. So will that dent the market sentiment is something that remains to be seen. The US 10-year yield ahead of that has eased a tad bit. It currently stands at levels of 1.32, 1.36. Crude prices continue to remain at elevated levels around that $73.5 per barrel. You know, the Indian markets have actually held fort. If you remember, the whole of last week Wall Street was down close to about 2% on an average. Despite that, the Indian markets were very close to its lifetime high levels. In fact, even as we speak, we're just about 80 points away from our all-time high levels when it comes to the Nifty at least. So in that context, you would think that this buy on dips approach, that the markets, there is inherent strength, which you can see, and the bulls are, retaining control of the market. In other good news, which could propel many of these interest sensitives like banks higher, is that the August CPI has come in as a big positive surprise, much lower than expectations at 5.3%. Also yesterday, the FIs were big buys in the cash market. They bought 1,419 crore in the cash market, though the DIIs did sell 560 crore. Back to you.
All right, so those are the market cues. Reema, thank you so much for that. Now over to Nupur, who will list out the stocks we are watching out for in today's trading session. Hi Nupur, good morning.
Good morning, Sonal. Well, let me start with most important number. August CPI number poured in yesterday evening at 5.3%, which is well below our poll of 5.7%. So definitely positive for PSU banks and more positive for NBFCs as well as HFCs. So keep an eye on that. Moving on to the Z Entertainment, where two large shareholders, Invesco and Notified Global China Fund, asked for the removal of 3 directors, including Mr. Puneet Goenka, and two of three directors, Mr. Manish Chokhani and Ashok Kurian, ahead already tendered their resignation yesterday, and all these shareholders proposed appointment of 6 new independent directors. Street is taking this move with positive bias, leading to valuation re-rating. So important story to keep an eye on. Redington West, its step down subsidiary, acquired stake in Brightstar for $35 million in cash. So that stock will also be in focus. KNR Construction Company is in receipt of LOA for project worth 313 crores, and it will be completed within 15 months. 2 new companies to list today. ME Organics, the IPO was subscribed 64.5 times, and Vijay Diagnostic, where we saw just 4.5 times subscription, and Sensex IPO to open today. So all these stocks will be in focus today.
All right, Nupur, thank you for that list. And finally, Mangalam is joining in with the cues from the F&O space. Hi, Mangalam.
Good morning. So yesterday the markets recovered from the lows of trade. That was the Nifty, and alongside that we did see a couple of trends pan out. The Nifty Bank continued to underperform while the mid-cap index outperformed, and usually that happens when the street believes that the lows on the Nifty are protected. Over the last few trading sessions we've seen some recovery. However, the important part, cash market flows, they're strong on the FII side for the third trading session now, up 1,400 crores in terms of purchase, and they are unfortunately unwinding some of their positions in index futures. In fact, over the last few trading sessions, we've seen the FIs pull out some long positions, add some short positions, and at the same time, a couple of days ago, the FI long exposure was 68%, and now it stands at 61% with 39% short exposure. And in light of this, the SGX Nifty is important because it is indicating a start above that 17,420 mark, and this at a time when the FIs have written more calls than puts. 78,000 calls is what they've written, this against just 35,000 puts, and that is important primarily because if you take a look at the Nifty days high for the last 3 trading sessions, it's been pretty close to that 17,380, 17,380, 79 sort of mark. So to that extent, it will be extremely important to watch out for whether the SGX Nifty gap up sustains or not. In terms of stocks, most definitely watch out for a handful of them. We have IRCTC, which has come out of the F&O ban, surged in the last hour yesterday. Alongside that, a couple of stocks which have entered the F&O ban, Canara Bank, Exide, as well as LIC Housing Finance. And finally, Syngene. The stock was up 6% yesterday with a 68% jump in open interest. So a lot of long positions added out there.
Okay, all right, Mangalam, Nupur and Reema, thank you so much for joining us and prepping us up for this trading day ahead. With that, we'll slip into a short break now. More news and updates follow on the other side of this very short break. Stay tuned.